key message there.
That was weird. I think we're back up though. We should be.
Let's see in about 2
Yeah.
seconds.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, I think we're back up. Yep.
All
Quick
right.
little delay right there.
Excellent.
Who do you think you have for this game? You
For this
going
game,
Colossus or Iniquity?
oh man, this is tough to say. From this composition, I say the later the game goes, the better it looks for Iniquity. But Colossus have a ridiculous amount of early pressure, and I want to see them exert that.
I mean, Iniquity got Fafnir. That's going to be hard to kind of overcome. They're pausing the game right now.
Yeah, it looks like there's
Dr.
a
Feels
DC
so
from
good.
Dr. Feel So Good, yeah.
Yep. We'll give him a second to put that back up.
I also need to rearrange that anyway. There we go.
I think that as of right now, I'm looking at these team comps, yeah, and I really do like the Athena Naja, and there I think that's interesting. I think the Xing Tang is an interesting pick, but I don't think it's better than having a warrior in there.
Well, I think Xinjiang, he's gonna have a little bit of a tough time once he hits level 3 against tier, just because the fact that he's gonna hit a little bit of a power spike and level 4 as well. It's gonna be very difficult for him to keep up with how strong Xinjiang's clear. I mean, how strong tier's clear and CC is. So I'd say that yeah, there's gonna be a lot of pressure both in. I think there's gonna be pressure in all lanes really, but the later this goes, the more heavily dependent Iniquity is going to be on Freya. So the solo lane could be a point of focus from Colossus. That's where they can, if they can maybe gank tier a little bit more, get some extra pressure, we'll see how it works for them.
Game starts soon. We're back ready. I'm an Athena main player, and Athena can potentially have a lot of CC based on the Wing Blade and potentially even Spirit Robe or whatnot. It's gonna be interesting to see how that comp works in the team fight type of situations.
So here's something interesting. I'm seeing a Mark of the Vanguard on Xingtian versus the Blue Stone on tier. So maybe he'll have a little bit of a better time than I thought in the lane. Naja not having pots. Oh, still on the base though. So Naja has Hog, and there are no Hogs available from Iniquity. Yet again, that Fafnir is going for Shell, and there's 3 beads, probably to deal with gods like Naja and Athena and Xingtian, but I think it'll be a little bit awkward. It'll be a little bit awkward if Colossus decides to exert the pressure that they have in the dual lane and mid lane and use it to take a Gold Fury, because Iniquity doesn't really have an answer for it.
The minions have spawned. Does mean the game has begun.
Yep, it's a little bit interesting to see how various clears work out and stuff, but it seems that Susano not having a Hog is going to be a little bit more difficult for their clear. In fact, in the mid lane, Zilla's already showed up. Dark God's going to take quite a bit of poke, though. Nothing of consequence, though, it seems here. And,
as a person watching the
gonna
game,
rotate out.
I'm kind of a little disappointed that everybody played their positions.
Look how
You know,
fast Susano showed
Oh
up
no,
in mid
that
lane.
Athena's in some trouble here.
Susano showed up very quickly in mid lane, in fact, and the fire elementals are going to go the way of Colossus here. It looks like
little easy there.
Flynn is taking a little bit more poke than he wants to, but Running Tree is going to heal up with pots as well, so that's fine. But in the mid lane here, in fact, the solo is rotated out to grab the right mid camps as well, so those will go the way of Colossus, and already a slightly, a little bit of an early lead in terms of farm, which is very important for them.
As a team, playing on a team, I stress the importance of grabbing those elementals, but potentially going for the mid camp first, and then moving your way over there. That way, potentially the jungle potentially trapped, and if you know what you're doing, you can bring over the solo lane as well as the mid lane and the jungle, and then you have that just huge composition. They have to rotate, or they have to let things die. So I love that idea that they had there. We're going to try and secure the elementals and that mid camp. It's a great idea going in there. than
I'm
actual plan.
loving Xingtian's play right now. The solo laners are just standing there.
They're just looking at each other.
I love it. This Xingtian is actually healing up so significantly from his passive.
He's just standing there and he takes a smack to the face.
Freya, oh, doesn't get caught by the shield wall, so not too much trouble. But you can see the pressure that Colossus have everywhere, and Lineant is actually gonna make his was considering making his way over for an early game. The mid camps, the mid harpies looked like they were split evenly between both teams, but the lead is gonna be there. Zeus has already hit 5, and now Naja has as well, and they've recognized it. They're gonna apply the pressure here. We'll see if Eqiquity though is gonna have anything for it there. I think so close to all-in potential there. Lineant could have dove for a kill, but decided against it. Over in the dual lane,
It wouldn't have been a smart idea.
Really
I mean,
good.
not with the Neja there who had their ultimate and the Zeus ultimate ring.
It would have definitely worked out in their favor, that's for sure. Really good pressure though in the dual lane and the mid lane, so I wouldn't be surprised if there's an early Gold Fury attempt here. But now Lineant is in a little bit is gonna go for the Naja ultimate there.
There
In
it
a little
is.
bit of trouble is the Scylla, and down she goes.
The most annoying ultimate in the game.
Yep, and the first
You
one
asked
goes the way of Colossus. That was expected. I think Scylla should have been watching out for it. The fact that there is the experience lead. So that'll be the case there. Actually, what's this? A huge invade in the jungle?
I mean, they're potentially saying, all right, we have the idea that you're trying to be really
Oh,
aggressive here.
It
We're
looks
gonna try
like
and
Running
be
Tree picked up the red buff.
Well,
So Colossus
I mean,
is showing that this is what I wanted to see. They're exerting their pressure, and they're using it to their advantage here by stripping away the jungle of Eqiquity. So Eqiquity is caught in a little bit of a weird spot here. There's not really too much they can do about this. Meanwhile, in the solo lane here, it looks like Xingtian and Tyr both out of mana. They're sort of trying to figure out who's going to back first, but Xingtian does have multipots, and he's going to be fine. He's actually going to push up. So pressure in all lanes here. Eqiquity is in a really rough position. We'll see how they're going to be able to answer to it, though. I want to see a little bit of
around the
help.
red here.
I want to see help from the jungler, right? Susano lost his speed buff, and that's unfortunate. But he's got to be doing something here, because the way I see it, he's not going to be able to do anything if they're going to, you know, keep exerting this pressure. And he'll just have no opportunities. He's got to catch someone on an overextension, like the Naja, for example. It's going to come from proper coordination, communication, and warding.
Ultimately, Team Colossus looks like they're a little bit ahead in experience, like as a team, than Eqiquity Sports right now. They're really, really putting a lot of gas on their assault, and it's hard to keep up with a team that's able to do that effectively.
Well, Susano is very strong in the early game. He should be exerting pressure in lanes that are imbalanced, and I think specifically in the mid lane as well. With the Zeus, he's immobile, and you're playing Susano, one of the most mobile gods in the game. He's very gankable, and they should be like taking advantage of that, and I don't see them doing that, and I think that's what's kind of their downfall here. Noticing the wards placed as well. It's 5 minutes in, and there's only 3 wards. I think that if teams had more vision, they'd be able to make more plays onto stuff like the Gold Fury and be able to deal with the kind of pressure that's going on by understanding where rotations can be coming from.
There's not a significant lead here, but I'm still staying with the idea as they send through Gold Fury there.
Over in the mid lane, though, Mr. Kelly forced to use the Aegis here. And, sorry.
Athena all coming in.
Yep, the Athena ult is going to save him, and in fact, Naja is going to take him to the sky. Fafnir forced the ultimate on the way down. The second kill for Colossus, though, and Eqiquity, once again, has almost nothing to answer for, but now Dr. Feels So Good going in on the offensive here. He's looking at the Zeus, very close to picking it up, but they're going to fall back, and I think that's a mistake. I think Lurk God should be able to do more damage here, but now a rotation has come in from the ADC here. And Eqiquity has a very good disengage. 4 men strong here in the mid lane. Is there any way that Eqiquity can take advantage of this huge early game rotation?
Well, Dr. Feels So Good had a potential to take advantage. He
Well,
didn't. He wanted to sort of, can I reach that Zeus? But he should have just went for it.
Well, Colossal
He had
ended
no
up
choice.
Colossal ended up just stealing away that red buff now. They
Yeah,
forced people
that's
out,
the reason. That's the reason why you should have made a play there.
and well, there it is, the Gold Fury, and I think
Uncontested.
absolutely. There it
All
goes.
theirs.
3,000 gold lead now at 7,000 minutes. It's not out of control, but it's gonna get there pretty quickly.
You can just tell
Colossal
that
out-farming.
Team Colossal is just outdoing everything they're doing right now.
They're out farming, and they're just in general outplaying here. Mr. Kelly in a little bit of trouble here. I'm a monster. There it goes and hits the reset. Look, picks up the first kill for Eqiquity here, and just slightly whips onto Alan here, but he's still going to be caught out, and Susano's going to go for the chase, but Running Tree showing up is going to make them disengage. This is the kind of pick that they needed here, recognizing that since the Gold Fury was done, they can make something happen in another place on the map. The rotations from both solo laners. In fact, they went for the Gold Fury, didn't realize it went down because they didn't have a ward. That being said, they did eventually place that ward, right? And the wards placed are even
They're
right
trying.
now.
They're trying to. This is an ineffectual gank here that they're trying to do.
Well, it was
That Rama is
inconsequential.
so clearly gone. They're moving over to the Athena, which has the Zeus right next to him. Zeus.
Well, Athena's gonna be
Kelly's
getting
ult
away.
is up actually too, and that's
Oh,
gonna.
hold on. Hold on. Eqiquity's
this
gonna
is
commit to this.
custom.
The Athena with a beautiful peel into the gigantic lightning storm from Zeus.
Oh, there it
Valkyrie's
goes.
discretion, but then he does.
Oh!
He picks up Mr. Kelly, and Angloke picks up Blockkeeper though in return.
Right at the last
Running
second.
Tree just barely gets away. And now Angloke
That Rama's
is in a
gotta
little
be
bit of
turned
trouble.
on right now.
He's stuck inside 4. He's forced to use the Sanctuary, but he's not gonna get out of there.
Nope.
The Fearless keeps him in place. Look,
There it
picks up
is.
the second kill. 2-3 on the scoreboard. Rather 3-3 on the scoreboard.
But they will lose the right tower on that.
Nope, that's because there is a teleport
Tyr.
out there from Thy Savior. No, they still do lose
They
the
still
tower.
lost it.
And, well, what does that do for the Gold Fury? I mean, in exchange for the, to the gold difference, it's still 2,800, but Eqiquity is now making plays showing that they can fight back, and that's what I do like to see. I think that's very, very helpful for them because they really do need to show that they're doing something, you know, important for them to make sure that they're making some kind of comeback happen.
Matir is doing as
Not
good
the
as he
best play
possibly
they could have
can.
made. I don't think it was the best play they could have made, but picking up those kills was pretty important because it does cut down on the XP lead here. It's 2,000 XP lead for Team Colossal.
There's a lot of grouping up toward that mid lane. Make anybody antsy when you start seeing those red dots coming toward you.
Yeah, and well, there's a little bit of pressure. Once again, they're looking at finding a pick and mid so that they can time it for the speed buff, for the red buff invade. This time, however, Mixlen is going to secure his own red buff finally. I think the first time. 9 minutes! Not the best, but what can you do, right? Big pressure once again here in mid. Eqiquity is playing a very good defensive game, but Defender of Olympus is coming out onto Angloke because he's in a little bit of trouble. Fafnir is going to go up into his draconic form and chase down Angloke. And
Man, they have a
Mid-clan-
chance here to make a play on
just
that Rama.
misses
They
the
gotta
banish
make
there.
it.
A meditate just barely
There's
to
the
try
ult.
and save Rama's life, but
Forcing the
now
ult
into
in.
the Astral Barrage. Rama's not going to be able to do it. The Valkyrie's discretion used as well, but it's completely whiffed. In fact, not a single hit. Forced to use beads as Mixlen, and now he's on the defensive here as Running Tree goes aggressive and Angloke tries to push forward. Meanwhile, in the mid lane here, there goes the
Mid
Naja
lane's
ult,
got a
and
kill.
there's the Zeus ult. God, this setup is absolutely unbelievable. Lurkot's just barely gonna get away, but the rotation's coming out from the solo lane with another 3v3 fight. So lots of fighting going on here. I don't think that Eqiquity should be fighting so much. I think that gods like Scylla and Susano have escapes good enough you can get away from a god like Zeus. And, I mean, Naja sure can close gaps, but honestly, the fact that there's all this pressure being exerted, hold on, there's a Typhoon there in the mid lane as Blockkeeper tries in vain to save the tower. Actually, tries valiantly, I should say, because now Doctor feels so good, and Lurk got
And
showed back
Neja
up.
is ready to be poked too.
2 tanks batting away. Oh, I'm a monster gets popped. Running Tree does not die as a result, though it was the wrong target, but
They got
Mr.
the
Kelly
Zeus.
does eventually get picked up. Now Scylla's on the run here. Xinqian is chasing, and Thy Savior is there to save him, which is very nice. Angloke, though, has made the rotation into the mid lane here. Lurkgod's just barely going to get away, but at what cost? They lose the mid tower. Oh wait, no, the mid tower remains. Thy Savior is chasing away the Najat, and now Running Tree has to save him. And Thy
You
Savior
have to kill. There's
he's
another
gonna commit.
sanctuary
He uses
there.
the Lawbringer. Xingtian ultimate though is gonna force him to disengage.
Forcing
Back
the
throws
tower
two
there.
into the tower, and Lineage
There's
gets
the
his
ult.
ult back up off cooldown. And
He's
is
still
he gonna
around,
make it?
but
no,
no!
Thy Savior does pick it up, but pays for it with his life.
I
Very,
think that's a
very good
price you
play.
gladly pay right there. I mean, you tie up at least a score on the stat sheet.
If I'm Iniquity, I'd say that's worth, because they're ahead.
They end up getting both those, and they're going for gold here right now. They might have it uncontested, as Zeus and Athena might be a little late to this.
But Zeus does
Zing
have his
Tate's
ultimate
behind
ready.
there.
And Xingtian's gonna show up, and there it is. That's the thunderstorm that we were talking about.
You gotta make a play
and
here if
Colossus
you're-
actually does secure the Gold
Yes.
Fury, so a little bit of a misplay. Bad call on the disengage from Iniquity. And
They should have stayed
able
in
to
that
pick
fight
it
as
back
long as
up.
possible.
Yeah, able to pick it back up is Colossus.
It still is gonna be turned on
Lurk
now,
God
too.
didn't see that there were 3 people around the corner to chase her, forced to
They're
use the
like,
Sanctuary,
get her.
just barely gonna live. I'm a monster, used
ult.
defensively, and only just barely gets away because of it, and for that they pay with the mid tower. So, not so much worth anymore due to some bad control over on the Gold Fury here. 4,800 gold now in the advantage for Colossus here.
The 2 players that really stick out to me right now are Scylla, who is played by Lurk God, and Lineate, who's playing Asia. They really stick out right now to me, even though the Zeus is doing so much area damage.
Hold on. Uh-oh. Xingtian's in a little bit of trouble. He's going to chuck a couple people away, but Blockkeeper is going to
And
pick him
there
up
it
with
is.
the Typhoon, but Lineant shows up with the Armillary Sash to pick up the kill onto Blockkeeper.
That
Mr.
Zeus-
Kelly's also
that
in a little
Zeus
bit of
could be
trouble.
on his
Not
way
gonna feel
out.
so good. Thy Savior,
There it
Lawbringer! Style points, I say, with a beautiful Lawbringer over the wall. And, you know, you got to take your kills with a bit of a
Impressive move
flip,
right
eh?
Just completely impressive.
But a nice taunt onto Lurk God, and all of a sudden he's caught out of position. The rotation is a little bit late from the Freya, but they're still going to take the fight here. Running Tree forced to use the Meditate. Valkyrie's discretion goes, but it's going to be to no avail, not necessarily hitting the right targets. Thy Savior's now in a lot of trouble here. One shield wall, and the Reach doesn't manage to secure the kill. Running Tree getting extremely low, though. Astral
There's
Barrage
one.
picks up the kill. Astral
They end up
Lineant gets a
switching,
killing spree.
Man, that Athena was ready to die. That they just couldn't make a play on her fast enough before. That's
Well-
why I'm saying I think that the Neja and the Scylla are making like the difference to me in this game.
Yeah, 3 for 2 here, and Najat is really showing up, playing very, very good setup for the Zeus, who might have a little bit of a hard time closing the gap to make sure that he gets those kills. So, not worth, in my opinion. The gold difference, yeah, it does go up to 5,500, but I do like the fact that Iniquity is still fighting, is still getting kills. 3 for 2, you know, not the worst thing in the world. It's not like they got wiped or anything, so they're still fighting back, but what's important, Colossus is still in control of Iniquity's jungle. They're not getting any speed buffs, they're not getting any red buffs, they're not getting any blue buffs. In fact, only now is Thy Savior on his own blue buff, and Xingtian is around the wall there. Well, he does pick it up himself, which is nice. But this pressure that Xingtian has here, Thy Savior 2 levels down, Xingtian's going to rotate to mid here, where the next fight's going to happen onto an unsuspecting Scylla, but Xingtian does show up on the ward, they do retreat. It's a trap, in fact. But the Xingtian doesn't care. He's tanky, but he doesn't realize Susanoo's also there around the corner. He's actually caught out a little bit. Blockkeeper's going to go on the chase, but decides to back away smartly. Doesn't know how many more are left. And Rama was thinking of making the rotation, and is going to just back off once again. 4 strong in the mid lane. Tyr pushing back out right. Xingtian backs. Time to reset.
In the dual lane, there's a huge issue here. The Freya is doing some of your biggest damage on your team, and she's being out-leveled by 3 levels here on the Rama. As a situational awareness situation, you gotta see that there is that issue there. Hopefully you capitalize better on it.
Well, Thy Savior is going to be able to take that tower as a result of Xingtian making the rotation and having to get poked out to the point where he had to back. But now that the solo laners are boxing it out, the CC available to you on the table is different. And this fight in mid lane is going to be a different situation here. Once again, there's a lot of pressure being put here. The Gold Fury is still down for another minute and a half, but a play is really important here so that you can ensure you're going to win the next fight. And in fact, Najat ult here. And down it goes. Fafnir forced to the ultimate. Meanwhile, in the duo lane, Mictlan does pick up Eqiquity thanks to a gank from Susano. Athena with the Defender of Olympus to try and get the front out of there, and the I'm a Monster goes onto Lineant.
Wow.
Mr. Kelly picks up good, but the Saber picks up Lineant in the backside, and now Mr. Kelly's out of position, completely immobile, uses the Sanctuary. Unfortunately, that means he's not going to get any healing from the meditation from the Athena, and Thy Savior picks up that Mr. Kelly. 10 to 10 now, but Lurk God is in trouble, but Thy Savior with a beautiful Fearless for the peel here, and Blockkeeper as well is going to pull him back and make sure that their Scylla is going to stay alive. Alan wants it though. He misses the Furious Roar, and that's going to enable Scylla to slip away just barely with her life. Unbelievable. Lots of action going on, and this time, a huge victory for Eqiquity. They pull the gold lead back to 3.8k, and the Gold Fury is about to spawn, and Colossus is forced to base. What are they going to do? Clear their jungle. Very good. I think it's a great call to clear their jungle. They've been missing out on that, and it's a much needed farm.
I mean, there's a lot of issues I'm seeing right now in Eqiquity's game, but I mean, they're fighting hard, and you can tell that maybe they're a little bit, I would say a little bit out of experience compared to Team Colossal, but it's very minimal because they're still able to stay in the game, and they're doing a really good job, just sort of like how Eqiquity, what's that team's name?
Liquefy.
Liquefy was able to do against them. It's like, it's kind of humbling when you're in that situation. You know, you kind of won both games on the marathon.
Hold on, over in the mid lane here, it looks like Dr. Feels So Good got caught a little bit out, and he's forced to use his sprint. That's not going to be good for the next fight. Running Tree though, taking a little bit of poke from Lurk God.
I think they're just gonna walk away from that fight.
Again, they want to start this fight because they're looking at the Gold Fury. Oh, and Rama's now in a little bit of trouble here. Uses the blink, but whiffs.
There we go.
And Running Tree's now in a lot of trouble here, taking a lot of damage as Running Tree goes 1v3. This poor Athena. Meanwhile, Mictlan picks up Alan. Athena forced to use the curse, but now Mictlan falls in return. The Naja ult Wind Fire Wheels is used, but the Typhoon makes sure that Blockkeeper secures Running Tree. A lot of uncoordinated fighting here, and now Thy Savior falls to Eqiquity here. Mr. Kelly, though, drops the Thunderstorm, but he's in a little bit of trouble himself. Lurk God picks him up. Scylla's forced to run away here on the backside. Dr.
That's going to be a kill on Dr. Feels Good here.
Much damage, and he's going to fall as well. Overall,
Poor
3
Fafnir.
for 3. No Gold Fury, but
3 down, 3 down.
But look at the gold difference here, still 3,800. However, the momentum belongs to the full health Rama here on the right side of the map, left side of the map against the Push the Tower with Naja. So
you still think the late game favors Eqiquity opposed to Team Colossal?
I do think it favors Eqiquity. As soon as that Freya gets online, she's going to be doing some serious damage, and she's going to be the deciding factor in these team fights here. Instead,
so
actually, Eqiquity almost loses their second tower on the left side due to very slow rotations. It could have been a Gold Fury by Colossal, but now they can't do it. Now Lurk Gods are on the corner. I love to see all these wards getting picked up, though. That's absolutely so important.
That was definitely an issue that Eqiquity was having, is that they were not warding.
Yeah, in the early game. But they made the kills even here. Unfortunately, they're behind in gold because of the Gold Fury control and because of the objectives. They're not out of it, though. The experience, it's not in their favor, but you can see here that Lurk God has a level on Mr. Kelly. Or just now, uses his ult. Hold that thought. Alan gets absolutely deleted here, and Dr. Feels So Good picks up the kill. Lineant uses the Armillary Sash to hold him in place. The Typhoon is popped as well, but it'll be to no consequence. Blockkeeper teleports in here, but decides to back away. But Running Tree here is alone, decides better of it, dashes away. Looks like the Gold Fury is going to be started up by Eqiquity, but they're baiting the fight, and this is smart because it'll be a 4v5. Lineant all the way forward, but way out of position. Turn and burn, force the ult defensively. The I'm a Monster is popped, and
might be in
just
trouble.
Off the mark. Actually was Sanctuaried out, and Blockkeeper also in a little bit of trouble with Running Tree's control here. Mictlan is going to be chasing down Lineant, but decides better of it instead. Dr. Feels So Good, who is zoning out the entire team, is taking quite a bit of poke.
Lineant is looking for that ultimate when she can get it on, when he can get it on.
But don't forget, there it is. Zeus has the ultimate. but now Miklan is going hard. Unfortunately, really got out, forced to use Valkyrie's discretion. The Meditate's going to keep everyone alive there, and now Astral Barrage going to be Sanctuary here. Miklan is not going to survive this, though, and finally falls to Mr. Kelly. While
you're looking for a lot of support from those Harpies there.
Yeah, while Eqiquity ends up falling back, and that's going to be an opportunity here for Colossals to take the Gold Fury, and with no contest other than from Thy Savior, but he's going to be zoned out, CC'd. Colossus get the Gold Fury. Good Fearless, but he's not actually going to live. In fact, forced to beats is the jungler, and Thy Savior ends up falling to Eqiquity, so it's actually not going to look very good at all. Blockkeeper just barely gets away here, and now Dr. Feel So Good is on the retreat. Armillary Sash whiffed, Soul Reaver proc. Eqiquity takes a lot of poke from this Scylla now.
So your goal as Eqiquity now is to get to the late game, and hopefully you survive as many towers as you possibly can. We're coming up on that late game part of the game now, but it's going to be an uphill battle even with that at this point.
Freya is doing damage, and Eqiquity needs to make sure they keep their Freya alive. If Freya can't survive, they won't be able to do anything. Unlike last game where it was all about the Susano, I think it's about Freya here.
It's just like in the like when you're playing a Zeus or you play Anubis or you play what's the other Ra, you have to protect that mid lane.
Well, Dr. Feels So Good goes in, and now the Naja ult and the Scylla ult and the Naja ult and the Zeus ult, and look,
they got her on the rebound.
Mr. Kelly all getting themselves a set of kills here. Dr. Feels So Good forced to retreat. Thy Savior working really hard on trying to get something out of this, but he's gonna just sort of force Xingqian to back, and he's not gonna be able to do much else. The Blockkeeper can't really stop him from taking this tower on his own. A nice two-man Fearless, but Thy Savior is really just going for the distractions here. Xingqian is actually teleporting back in. Nope, his ward was destroyed, and instead here, Thy Savior is a little bit caught out alone now. 1v4 as the teleport comes in. He's forced to use the Lawbringer to get away, but even the Bulwark won't save him. Alan picks him up and says, "You get back here, Tyr!" And down he goes, credited to Mr. Kelly.
That tier is going to be a lot. You need to keep that tier up. Just like you need to keep the Freya.
He's definitely very good for keeping the Naja busy, because he's tanky and he's making sure that nobody's. Hold on, they're starting the Fire Giant. I don't think they can commit to this. Do they have a hog
everybody coming in here.
They do have a hog up, and there's no hog from Colossus to contest. But now showing up is the rest of Team Eqiquity, and they're just gonna make sure that disengage happens. Are they gonna, no.
Team
that's
Team
cheeky.
Equity's
That's so
esports.
cheeky. Are they gonna start it? Okay, no, they're not gonna do it.
Eqiquity Esports are a team that doesn't like to don't like to have the hog very often. I have not seen a competition with them running the hog.
Well, that's resulted in them failing to have the proper objective control, and that's why they can't commit to this Fire Giant here. Well, I mean, if you look at the gold difference, Eqiquity cannot fight. They're 8,000 gold down. The only chance they have is if they have that sixth player in the form of a Fire Giant to, you know, go against them. And so basically, all they can do right now is sort of, I guess, split push and defend the Fire Giant and farm up. Dr. Feels So Good. Actually, he's going in, and a blink happens there. The ultimate from the Fafnir Lineath is in a lot of trouble and uses the ultimate, but he's gonna go down. I'm a monster.
Scylla's waiting
for them on the bottom, and Naja falls.
And a kill steal, because that, let's be honest here, that Scylla was ulted.
But the important thing is that the Zeus ult is down, and now Dr. Feels So Good knows he can go right in here. A beautiful three-man taunt from the Athena. Actually, never mind. There goes the Zeus ultimate. I thought it was popped, but Mr. Miklan 666 is going to be able to pick anything up. Valkyrie's
and there goes the
now,
Freya.
Barrage comes in, and down he goes thanks to the furious roar from Xingqian. And now it's going to be Thy Savior who's on the run. And they picked a bad fight here, and Tyr is now 1v4 and dies before he can even finish the Fearless combo.
This is where the game starts to turn on Eqiquity Esports. If they can't get back in this at this point, they're going to be done.
Well, they're definitely going to have to give up the Fire Giant here. The gold lead now, 8,700, like I said. They're not going to be able to win any fights, and this fight was no exception. Sure, they picked out the Naja, but they overcommitted, and next thing you know, 3 deaths. I think that it was maybe a bad call for Fafnir to go in, because the Zeus ult was still up. I thought it was down. I thought I saw it, but I guess I must have been mistaken. Now, Colossus have the Fire Giant, and they're going to use this to their advantage. They're going to start sieging up. And the only real good defending ultimates you have are you have I'm a monster. Make sure people don't get low. You have the Fafnir who can stun people underneath the tower. You have a Fearless, right? There's a lot of good CC, so there's a lot of good objective defense. That being said, you cannot let Naja 100 to 0 your back line. You turn and burn, but you reset. That's the thing. And since they overcommitted, since Fafnir went right in, they just get absolutely demolished by this Zeus ultimate. So, the focus turns to the left hand side, where the tier 2 tower is now under threat. Eqiquity going in here, and it looks like Eqiquity are actually just going to give it up. I think they could have, done something to contest, but I guess they'll just be content with defending.
Not with the
at
Fire
Phoenixes.
Giant up.
Well,
They
even
have the
with
Fire
the Fire
Giant.
Giant buff on them, I think that they can definitely still poke them out while they're under the
You
tower.
still have
at least.
the other part is you still have 2 tanks, on this comp for Team Colossal.
I would like to see, if they're giving up this right tower, I would love to see at least farming in the left lane. Instead, they give up the tower, effectively do nothing, and now Colossus having a huge lead. Don't forget, there's a lot of gold in hand as well, right? 2,200. If they allow that reset, there's going to be an entire item, a finished Deathbringer on Naja, right? And probably a start of a Malice, and that's going to be pretty significant. The fact that they're not really farming up effectively here, is going to really, they're going to pay for it, because now the gold lead 14k, and in fact it's going to be even greater as Colossus go the safe route and go for the gold fury before attempting to continue to siege here.
And there's the result very uncontested.
So here's what needs to happen for Eqiquity.
A miracle?
Well, in addition to a miracle, Eqiquity needs to first of all reset fights that go well for them. They've proven that Naja can get too thirsty and die quickly. Uh-oh, Lord God, cut out. Forced to use Purification. Just barely gets out there.
The advantages they have on their team, they're not using properly.
They need to basically turn and burn when Naja shows up, and that has definitely been their strategy. They also need to make sure they're keeping their Scylla and Freya alive. Blockkeeper is caught out of this. He's forced to use the Typhoon, but it's really well done. The Thunderstorm, though, picks up Blockkeeper, and Mr. Kelly picks up Dr. Feel So Good. It's not looking good anymore for Eqiquity, and Eqiquity picks up Lurk God as well with the Astral Barrage. The left Phoenix falls. Mr. Mictlan 666 is forced now to use his beads against the curse, which is pretty bad. And it looks like this will be it. After the second Phoenix falls, Eqiquity are on their final stand here. Order Titan down, 3,000 health, 2,000 health, 1,000 health. Down it goes, and Colossus takes the victory.
Just nothing they could have done there. You lost that. You lost the early game, you lost the mid game, and you lost the late game.
Well, it was about the fact that they weren't able to utilize the mistakes that Colossus made. The turning point, I think the point of no return, where, there's no point talking anything after that, was when Fafnir goes in by the Fire Giant there. After picking up the kill on the Naja, you picked up one clean kill and you're 8,000 gold down. You can't afford to just engage. And the problem is, Fafnir ran in and he just got bursted completely. He jumps over the wall, the whole team's there. He knows that, right? They're trying to start a Fire Giant. And that got him killed, and that got their Freya killed as well. And so Scylla and Tyr couldn't really do anything to stop them from doing Fire Giant, which was, the one thing you can do when you're that far down is stop them from doing Fire Giant. So it's unfortunate, but such is the case. It's all about making the right calls in when to jump in or when to hold back and make sure that you're keeping your carries alive when necessary. All in all, still a good game, and Colossus showed that despite the mistakes they made, they showed how to take an effective lead, how to take a lead, make it effective in pushing it to a victory. GG.
I think it's just a great game for them, really. I mean, they showed that they're going to be maybe a top tier in this league coming up. I wouldn't want to be facing them first round.
For sure,
first
definitely
opening day for your team. I wouldn't want to be facing them.
Definitely extremely strong. And
Let's
we'll
see
be
on the
very
next
excited
game
to see what they
potentially.
can do.
I don't know if they're going to be playing again. We'll have to take a look at that and see what happens here.
Yep. And just one small bit of information before we end the stream for good for tonight. Want to remind you guys, if you're interested in joining, make sure you sign up, and all the information is available in the Discord here. You can post the link in the chat, Angel. And make sure as well to stay tuned for when we cement in the number of teams that are going to be in this league. And it'll be awesome, because this is going to likely be a regular thing where it's essentially the same format as a Smite Pro League with a few tweaks, and it's very exciting. So stay tuned, keep your ears open for updates, and we're excited to see all of you guys participate.
Thank you. Have a good day, guys.
Good night.